Good day, students. So for today's lesson, we will be discussing about assessment in learning. This is the chapter 6, and it is entitled Preparation in Classroom Assessment. Okay. Now, at the end of this chapter, you are expected to list down the planning stages in preparing a classroom test, and then establish relationship among learning objectives, teaching, and testing. And you cite the importance of this table of specifications in making the test more valid and reliable, and construct a sample table of specifications. Okay, so good tests do not just happen. Okay, they require adequate and extensive planning. Okay, for a best outcome. Okay, so that the goals of instruction or objectives, the teaching strategy to be employed, the textual material, and the evaluative procedures are at its best. Okay. And when planning the teacher made test, according to Ralph Tyler, he is considered as the father of educational evaluation. According to him, planning for each lesson and each accompanying evaluation starts as early as conceptualization of the curriculum, the moment you think about. Okay, so it starts there. Okay. So this is the planning stage. Okay, we will discuss this on the following slide. Okay, so number one is establish broad goals and objectives. So it starts really, no, whatever you do, okay, it starts really in establishing the specific goals and objectives to incorporate the whole curriculum. Okay, and second, you classify the goals and objectives. Okay, and after establishing, we need to classify the objectives according to corresponding function. Okay, goals are broader and more expressed in general terms, and objectives are more specific and is more doable. Okay, third is you define objectives in behavioral terms. Okay, so it needs to clearly identify the content of objectives that can be applied to the student's behavior. Okay, and fourth, find situation in which achievement of objectives can be shown. We need, as teachers, we need to determine if they achieve the objectives throughout the process. So we are really guided with our objectives. Okay, and it is very important to set first. Okay. Fifth is developed or select measurement techniques, establishing the measurement of effective goals and objectives in the curriculum. Okay. Sixth is collect performance data. Okay, gathering data of the learner's performance about the goals and objectives. If it has been achieved or not. Okay, and then after that, you compare performance data with the behaviorally stated objectives. Compares the results between the learners and the stated objectives. Okay. In planning the teacher made test, before a classroom teacher sits down to write the test items, he or she must ask himself or herself a series of questions. Kumbaga, magre-reflect muna si teacher. Okay? What do I want to do? Okay, this is important. This is your direction. Okay, what is the best way in which I can accomplish my goals? What is the best strategy to use in accomplishing this goal? Okay, so these are the two most general questions the teacher must consider. Okay, in planning the teacher made test. Okay, so the following questions should be asked by the classroom teacher in the test planning stage. Okay, here are the questions. First, what skills, knowledge, attitudes, etc., do I want to measure? Okay, you identify what specific skill, what specific knowledge, and what specific attitude that you want to measure that uh, in doing that planning. Okay. Next is, have I clearly defined my instructional objectives in terms of student behavior? And have I prepared a table of specifications? Or what kind of test item format do I want to use? Okay, is it matching type? Um, is it true or false or what? And then why? Okay. How long should the test be? Okay, it's important. How many minutes to to accomplish that test? Okay. What should be the discrimination level of my test items? How will I arrange the various items format? How long will I arrange the items within each item format? And what do I need to do to prepare the students in taking the test? Okay. And the following questions should be taken with the classroom teacher in the planning stage. It is the continuation. Okay, so how are the students going to record their answer to the objective items? How will the objective portion be graded? For objective items, should guessing instruction be given, or should a correction for guessing be applied? Or how will the test scores be tabulated? How will the scores be assigned? How will the test results be reported? Okay, you have to consider these questions as you plan. Okay, so here are the steps in classroom testing and assessment. It is it is extracted, or it is introduced by Lin and Gronland in 2000, offered a logical procedure for preparing valid, reliable, useful tests as shown in this figure. Okay, first you have to determine the purpose of measurement. And then, second, you develop the table of specification. And then, third step, you select the appropriate test types. Number four, prepare relevant test items. Fifth, assembling the test and appraising the test. And then seven, you use the test. Okay? Okay, in writing the objective short response test, the objective type item was developed to overcome the criticisms leveled against essay questions, poor content sampling, unreliable scoring, time consumed for grading, and encouragement of bluffing. So all objective items formats can be subdivided into two classes: the supply type, short answer, and obtaining information from a student. Okay, here are some suggestions on how to construct an objective type of test. These are summarized as follows. First, objective test items must be written as simply and as clearly as possible so that all examinees will be able to make the same interpretation. So it is important that your question must be understood by the examinees, okay, so that it will be easier for them to answer. Okay. Second, test items should be tailored to fit the age and ability level of the examinees. Okay, so it is important that you have to consider the level of understanding, okay, of your examinees. Okay. Next is textbook language, technical jargon, and excessively difficult vocabulary should be avoided whenever possible. Yes, because we are trying to keep the question as simple and as clearly as possible. So we do not use difficult words, okay? Because it will be difficult for the examinees to understand, and then they might be uh, wrong in answering. Okay. Fourth is irrelevant clues should be avoided. Fifth, there should only be one correct or best answer. Okay. Test items must be reviewed, preferably by fellow teachers. Okay, so most especially the master teachers will review this. Okay, important ideas rather than trivial details should be stressed. Okay, we focus on facts. We do not dwell on trivial details. Okay, and then the short answer items is well suited to objectives and content areas where the answer can be provided by a words, symbol, number, or formula. Okay? So this is the continuation for short answers. Omit the keywords and over mutilated sentences. Use a direct question format when feasible and avoid irrelevant clues. Okay? For matching exercises, keep the lists relevant short, perhaps only 5 to 12 entries in each list. Keep homogeneous. Arrange each list in a systematic fashion. Okay? We do not have to do a lot of numbers here in the matching exercises. So 5 to 12 entries will be enough. Okay? So for true or false items, avoid double barreled items. Negative questions and doubles negative have an approximately equal number of true and false statements to counteract the effects of the examinee's response set and restrict the use of items for which the answer is clearly true or false. Okay, so we move now to the table of specifications, or it is commonly called as TOS. TOS is a tool used to ensure that a test or assessment measures the content and thinking skills that the test intends to measure. Okay, it is a matrix where the rows consist of specific topics or skills and the objective casts in the terms of Bloom's taxonomy. So we will be talking about Bloom's taxonomy on the following slides. Okay, so here is the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, the Bloom's taxonomy is a set of three hierarchical models used for classification of educational learning objectives into levels of complexity and specificity. Okay, so on the bottom we have here remember. Okay, uh, here in the remember level, the student recalls facts and basic concepts. Okay, here they can define or they can duplicate, they can list or they can memorize, repeat, and state the concepts. Okay, so in the next level, which is the understand, the student here will explain, will be able not to explain ideas or concept. Okay, they can classify, no, they can describe, they can discuss, explain, identify, they can locate, recognize, report, select, and translate. Okay, mas higher na yung understand. Okay, now, third level is the apply. Okay, here the student may use information in new situation. They can apply. Okay, they can execute the concept they learn. Okay, they can implement. They can solve on their own face. They can use. They can demonstrate. They can interpret, operate, and schedule and sketch those concepts that they understand. Okay. Next level is the analyze. Okay, they'll be able to draw connections among ideas. Okay, they can here they can now differentiate, they can organize, relate, they can compare, they can contrast between two terms, they can distinguish, they can examine, experiment, they can question, and they can test those knowledge that they have. Okay, the next is evaluate. They can justify a stand. okay, or decision. They can appraise, argue, they can defend, they can judge, select, they can support, value, critic, and they can weigh things. Okay, and in the top, that is create, they can now produce. Okay, out of those learnings, they can now produce a new or original work on their own, okay, based on the knowledge that they get. Okay, they can now design, they can now assemble, they can construct their own meaning, they can conjecture, develop, and they can formulate, they can even author, or they can investigate. Okay, so this is the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so Bloom's taxonomy has three identified domains, okay, or categories of educational activities. Okay, first is the cognitive knowledge or mental skills. This is called the LOTS, or the lower order thinking skills. Okay, next is the affective attitude or emotions. And then the third one is psychomotor skill or physical skill, or the HOTS, the higher order thinking skills. Okay? So we have here the Bloom's taxonomy digital planning verbs. Okay, so in remembering, as you can remember, this is the bottom, no, sa Bloom's taxonomy. So you can use um, these words in remembering. Okay, so if you want your learners to just remember, then you can have this: copy, define, find, locate, quote, listen, Google, repeat, retrieve, outline, highlight, memorize, network, search, identify, select, tabulate, duplicate, match, bookmark, bullet pointing. Okay, you can use these words. Okay, in the bottom part of the Bloom's taxonomy. Now, in the next level, which is the understand, okay, here in the understand, you can use these words: annotate, tweet, associate, tag, summarize, relate, categorize, paraphrase, predict, compare, contrast, comment, journalize, okay, or make a journal, interpret, group, infer, estimate, extend, gather, exemplify, express. Okay, these are the possible words that you can use in the understanding level. Okay, the third level is apply, right? Okay, apply. Okay, you can use these terms: acting out, articulate, reenact. Okay, load, choose, determine, display, judge, execute, examine, implement, sketch, experiment, hack, interview, paint, prepare, play, integrate, present, chart. Okay, applying stage. Okay, on the fourth level, this is our analyze, right? So we can use these words: calculate, categorize, break down, okay, or breaking down, correlate, deconstruct, link, mash, mind map, okay, or mind mapping, organize, appraise, advertise, divide, deduce, distinguish, illustrate, question, structure, integrate, attribute, estimate, explain. Okay, that is for our fourth level. Okay, in the fifth level, we have here the evaluate. Okay, so we can use these words: uh, argue, validate, test, score, assess, criticize, comment, debate, defend, detect, experiment, grade, hypothesize, measure, moderate, post, predict, rate, reflect, review, and edit or editorializing. Okay. On create, this is the last level of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. So you can have this term blog. Okay. They can create their own article. Okay. Blog, you build, animate, adapt, collaborate, compose. Okay. They can now compose a new song. They can compose an essay on their own. Okay. Direct, devise, podcast. Okay. Wiki building, write, film, program, simulate, role play, solve, mix, facilitate, manage, negotiate, and leading. Okay, so these are the possible words you can use. Okay, so here are steps of making TOS or table of specifications. First, you choose the measurement goals and domain to cover. Okay. Next is you break the domain, okay, breaking the domain into key or fairly independent parts, concept, terms, procedures, application. And third, construct the table. Okay. So, who should prepare TOS and when to prepare TOS? Okay, so let's start here in who should prepare TOS. So, teacher and students. There is nothing wrong in involving students in the development of a TOS. In fact, whenever feasible, teachers should encourage such student involvement, if not for any reason than to have students feel that have played some role in planning the course. Okay, so they feel they are engaged. Okay, so when to prepare? Okay, so TOS should be prepared before the beginning of the instruction, and this serves as a monitoring agent and can help keep the teacher from straying off the instructional track. Okay, the more detailed the blueprint is, the easier it is to get ideas or test items. So, hindi ka po mawawala sa goal mo. Okay? So, how do we determine? Okay? Next is, first is potential item or the PI. Okay? Is computed by the time spent in a specific content over the total number of hours for the whole grading period multiplied by 100. Okay? And for functional item, determine the number of items to be constructed from a specific content. They are calculated by getting the product of the PI or the potential item and the desired number of items in certain level of complexities. Okay, so that would be all. Thank you so much for listening.